In a jaw-dropping turn of events that has shaken the world of sports and entertainment, legends collide in a courtroom showdown that defies all expectations. The explosive incident left audiences stunned as the ferocious Mike Tyson erupted, launching a surprise attack on the renowned Floyd Mayweather. Emotions ran high, secrets spilled, and chaos reigned in a dramatic confrontation that transcends the boundaries of rivalry. This sensational narrative, filled with intrigue, hidden investigations, and mysterious alliances, is one for the history books and promises to ignite debates for years to come. Brace yourself for an unparalleled spectacle that will redefine legends. The story unfolds like a blockbuster thriller that no one could have ever imagined. A narrative where the time-worn decorum of a courthouse is shattered by an unprecedented act of passion and controversy. What began as a routine legal proceeding to address complex financial allegations against Floyd Mayweather soon spiraled into a maelstrom of raw emotion and startling revelations. In a setting traditionally reserved for deliberative justice and formal decorum, the hallowed halls
of
the courtroom became an arena for two icons whose lives have been marked by triumphs and tribulations. At the center of this unfolding drama were the larger-than-life figures of Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather, whose storied careers and contrasting personas have long captivated the public imagination. Over the past months, whispers of a secret FBI investigation had grown louder, casting a dark shadow over Mayweather's glittering empire. Investigators, meticulously combing through digital records, uncovered a labyrinth of encrypted files hidden deep within his personal phone. These files, containing a series of mysterious voice memos and coded messages, hinted at clandestine meetings and secretive gatherings, euphemistically referred to as freak-offs. According to insiders, these gatherings blurred the lines between high-stakes finance, covert entertainment, and a network of underground alliances. The very existence of such events challenged the pristine image that Mayweather had carefully cultivated over decades, exposing vulnerabilities that reverberated far beyond the boxing ring. Mike Tyson, whose
Floyd's a great fighter, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He had 50 fights and he said, listen, Sugar Ray Robinson had 47 fights. He lost one, then he had 78 fights. Then he had a 78-fight winning streak.
Yeah, but you even
He had 47, lost one, then 78 winning streak.
But even more
like
modern than that.
Knockouts.
Look at Julio Cesar Chavez. He was 84 and 0,
He
right?
was 89, 90 and 0 before he lost.
89 and 0. Wow. So it's
Don't
not,
tell me about you the greatest fighter with 50 and 0, nigga. You're great, no doubt about it, nigga. 50 and 0.
reputation as one of the most formidable pugilists in history is matched only by his unpredictable temperament. Was himself no stranger to personal demons and hard-fought redemption. Known for his explosive power and fierce on-screen persona, Tyson had in recent years emerged as a reflective figure, one wrestling with the ghosts of his tumultuous past while striving to set a new course. His social media posts and rare interviews resonated with a mix of unapologetic honesty and a deep-seated desire for authenticity. "I did what I felt was necessary," Tyson declared in a telling moment that was later replayed countless times, a statement that seemed to encapsulate years of personal struggle and a burning need to confront injustice head-on. On that fateful day, the courtroom was charged with a tension that permeated every polished surface and subdued whisper. The proceedings had begun in the customary manner, with legal teams exchanging measured arguments and the judge urging calm and order. Yet behind the facade of normalcy, a storm was gathering. The gravity of Mayweather's alleged financial misconduct, allegations, and
compete with that. So he's pretty big on those scales as far as on the celebrity scale. So he's gonna realize what life is all about, and what friends are all about, and realize that we only have a few of them, and sometimes they're the only ones we got. They may not.
involving questionable asset transfers, tax irregularities, and a series of dubious business maneuvers, had already set the stage for an explosive confrontation. Detail by detail, public records had slowly revealed that the revered champion's fortune, once hailed as unassailable, might have been built on precarious foundations. Financial experts poring over court filings noted discrepancies that hinted at systematic mismanagement, and every new disclosure added fuel to a fire that had been smoldering beneath the surface for far too long. Within this charged atmosphere, Tyson had been watching from the sidelines. Initially quiet and contemplative, he sat with the weight of a lifetime's experiences etched on his face, a face that had seen the searing heat of the ring and the harsher trials of personal adversity. Then, in a moment that defied all expectations, that dormant intensity burst forth in an eruption of movement and emotion. Eyewitnesses recall that in one fluid instant, Tyson rose from his seat, his eyes flashing with a resolve that seemed to call forth the very spirit of his past glories and missteps.
What lessons do you think Pacquiao and Mayweather could learn from you in terms of life away from the ring?
Well, Floyd seemed to be going through some stuff like me right now, you know, like realizing no one's his friend and everybody's probably, even though I even hate to say it, because maybe everybody's kind of a little jealous of him, you know, because he is Floyd Mayweather. I know these other guys got their money, but this guy is the champ of the world. You know, it's hard to...
He lunged toward Floyd Mayweather with a speed and determination that sent shockwaves through the courtroom, transforming a routine legal session into a scene reminiscent of epic cinematic battles. The sudden outburst ignited an immediate and overwhelming reaction. Gasps and exclamations filled the air as onlookers struggled to process what they were witnessing. Security personnel and court officials scrambled to intervene, their efforts barely managing to contain the chaos. In the midst of the confusion, Tyson's voice rang out, a deep, resonant affirmation of his actions. "I did what needed to be done," he proclaimed, a statement punctuated by the storm of emotions that had driven him to this breaking point. His words, raw and unfiltered, carried the weight of personal conviction and years of pent-up frustration against a system that, in his eyes, had long concealed the truth behind thick veils of secrecy and half-truths. As order was slowly restored, the incident took on an almost mythic quality. Analysts and sports commentators began piecing together the broader context of the day's events, exploring the underlying factors that might have led to such a dramatic collision of personalities and ideals. The FBI's relentless investigation into Mayweather's digital files was now more than just an ancillary subplot. It was a central thread in a tapestry of revelations that redefined the public's understanding of the boxing icon. The encrypted records hinted at connections with other high-profile figures, whispers of secret meetings, coded communications, and transactions that straddled the line between legitimate ventures and covert operations. In particular, a series of references to exclusive gatherings, known among insiders as freak-offs, suggested that the world of elite finance and clandestine entertainment was far more interconnected than anyone had previously imagined. In the days and weeks following the melee, every new development was scrutinized by a media frenzy that spared no detail. Television networks, online news outlets, and social media platforms became conduits for an unending flow of analysis, speculation, and heated debate. Every snippet of leaked audio, every blurred photograph from the courtroom was dissected with obsessive precision. Observers marveled at how a single impulsive act of aggression had unraveled a tightly woven narrative of power, secrecy, and hidden vendettas. For many, Tyson's actions transcended the immediate physicality of the moment. They became emblematic of a larger rebellion, an upheaval against an established order that had protected its interests with impenetrable barriers of silence and mystique. Legal experts soon pointed out that the ramifications of the event were likely to extend well beyond the confines of that single courtroom. As evidence continued to mount, the FBI's probe grew in complexity, merging traditional investigative techniques with cutting-edge digital forensics. The meticulous decryption of Mayweather's smartphone files was nothing short of a technological feat, a process that involved unraveling layers of sophisticated security measures that had long shielded sensitive information. Among these decrypted files were voice messages that conveyed an almost palpable sense of urgency and regret, along with cryptic statements that hinted at covert alliances with influential figures from the realms of entertainment.
He likes glam. He's very glamorous, and this is what he liked. And I was very savage. I wasn't that savage, dark, malevolent aura. You know, I was just never the fly, slick, black fighter.
And business. One series of messages referred in hushed and coded language to meetings with a well-known cultural icon famed for entrepreneurial prowess. A figure widely speculated to be involved in orchestrating some of these clandestine gatherings. The sidewire possibility of such connections sent ripples of disbelief across both the sporting community and the wider public. Yet, even amid this whirlwind of revelations, a remarkable undercurrent of personal transformation could be discerned. Mike Tyson, long marred by the scars of a turbulent past, appeared to be at a crossroads, a man torn between the urge to maintain the status quo of a hard-edged fighter and the desire to emerge as a reformed, introspective individual. His explosive actions in the courtroom, though met with shock and admonition by legal authorities, were also interpreted by many as a symbolic act of liberation. It was as if, in that singular instant, he had cast off the burdens of years of suppressed anger, choosing instead to herald the call for transparency and justice. I did what I felt.
We're different people. I like, what are you talking about? Why did you gotta get involved? He can say it. Why are you involved? All right, listen, as I'm saying, we're different people, so Floyd like...
Necessary, he reiterated in subsequent interviews, his tone simultaneously resolute and tinged with sadness, a dichotomy that resonated with countless individuals who have long felt alienated by systems that often value image over substance. Floyd Mayweather, meanwhile, found himself ensnared in a web of allegations that threatened to dismantle the carefully constructed fortress of his public persona. Once revered as the undefeated maestro of the boxing world, Mayweather was now facing a multidimensional crisis that extended far beyond the realm of athletic achievement. Financial experts were quick to point out that his empire, which had once been the envy of countless admirers, now appeared alarmingly fragile. Court documents and leaked financial statements painted a picture of lavish spending intertwined with risky business decisions, a facade of opulence that might have been sustained by layers of obscure and, at times, questionable financial arrangements. The mounting pressure of maintaining an untarnished image, juxtaposed with the steady accumulation of incriminating digital evidence, placed
Taking no blows. And I'm supposed to send them, yep, you're supposed to send them their cut. That's the way it works. And
what you owe them about half of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he's in Nevada, so which is no state tax. So basically, all you have to do is give them their 33%.
Yeah.
Skip, I get it, and I get the fact like all they're gonna do is waste my money anyway, but that's not the way you do it.
That is not allowed.
We saw other greats. Joe Louis had this problem.
He did.
Sugar Ray Robinson had to come out of retirement in '55 to settle a debt with the IRS, and even Mike Tyson. But what's so disappointing with me, Skip? Floyd Mayweather has gone through this before. What is it that you don't get? And I'm even more disappointed because you're on Instagram and on Twitter flaunting your opulence.
Whether in a perilously vulnerable position, behind the scenes, numerous discussions and private debates emerged regarding the potential motives that had driven Tyson to commit such an act. Some argued that the altercation was a spontaneous explosion of pent-up emotions, a momentary lapse in judgment fueled by decades of personal and professional torment. Others contended that the attack was a deliberate, calculated move designed to force a confrontation with a system that had long hidden its dirty laundry behind impenetrable walls of secrecy. In interviews that followed the incident, Tyson alluded to the idea that his actions had been a means to awaken a complacent system, to force those in positions of power to confront the long-ignored truths about their operations. His remarks, full of both defiance and a muted sorrow, underscored the complexity of a character who had navigated both the heights of adulation and the depths of personal suffering. As the investigation advanced, the attention of the world increasingly turned toward the digital clues that promised to unlock the full magnitude of the scandal. The FBI's report, pieced together from countless hours of
beat on an NFT project, or I'm not getting paid. What about that aura? Dior, Fendi, Prada, like, which one of those things made you feel like, yo, he's gonna write the check? The dude
fucking contract.
Nah, you don't give
a
a shit about
legal
that.
contract.
You don't care about that.
You don't care.
He got Fendi to buy.
News to me.
He got to go shopping.
So, question: what happens now? Do you guys get more than what you were supposed to get? Because that's kind of cool.
Less. That's the worst.
You get
part.
less.
Yeah.
Tell you who makes it out of this with a W.
Your lawyers.
Yeah.
And guess what?
The legal system
he owns
is
30% of their company.
the legal system's tough.
Yeah.
painstaking digital forensic work revealed details that were as intricate as they were alarming. Every encrypted file, every fragment of a coded message was scrutinized for hints of collusion and conspiracy. Among the startling discoveries were references to secret financial transactions, dubious real estate deals, and covert communications that spanned across international borders. These revelations, delivered in a steadily intensifying torrent of information, began to erode the mystique that had long shielded the inner workings of Mayweather's financial empire. The public was now confronted with the sobering reality that even the most idolized figures were not immune to the pitfalls of opaque dealings and unchecked ambitions. The cultural impact of these revelations cannot be overstated. In living rooms, cafes, and online forums around the globe, people debated the implications of a world where digital secrets could unravel lives in the blink of an eye. Intellectuals and cultural commentators alike engaged in a discourse that transcended the immediate drama of a courtroom melee. They examined how the collision of two towering figures in the
business. I actually find nothing wrong with that. It's smart. And so with this particular lawsuit, he had an investor pay $1.4 million in total for this section, and the investor was promised that the seats would sell at I think a 7 to 8x multiple, and he expected a return on his investment, and sure enough, he didn't get his initial investment back. He's strung along. He gets like $100K here and there, strung along, not getting paid. Now his investment allegedly is being rolled into Floyd's alleged fight with Manny Pacquiao, and so the investor's being strung along on this thing, and eventually, like us, it's like, yo, we're simply not getting paid in full. Like, we've been fucking dragged along for way too long now, and this guy finally just filed a lawsuit against Floyd Mayweather. So that's the one that's actually active and pending, and then here we are.
There's another one pending too.
Another one?
Yeah.
For the cash deal?
world of boxing was emblematic of a much larger societal reckoning, a moment when the dazzling lights of celebrity were dimmed by the stark truth of human vulnerability. The incident forced a collective confrontation with the notion that fame and fortune, however dazzling they may seem, always come with hidden costs. It also stirred up a dialogue about the power of technological advancements to pry open doors that were once securely locked, revealing the innermost secrets of public figures who had long been thought infallible. Amid the clamor and speculation, legal authorities worked tirelessly to ensure that the facts were established with clarity and precision. Meticulous evidence, collection, and rigorous cross-examinations in subsequent court sessions began to paint a more detailed portrait of that explosive day. Witness testimonies from court staff, security personnel, and even fellow legal professionals gradually formed a mosaic of recollections that, though varying in detail, converged on the same undeniable truth. An eruption of passion, driven by a profound desire for transparency, had
No. Ortiz deserved it. Ortiz, he headbutted you. He deserved what he got. I've got no problems with that.
And I just think about the body can break down. Remember, I was in a lot of big fights early on in my career. So the body can break down. So when a body broke down and a body was no longer 100%, I still had a sharp mind.
Are you trying to prepare all of us for this notion that it's
bended the normalcy of the courtroom? Every nuance, from the unmistakable determination in Tyson's eyes to the palpable tension in the air, was recorded, analyzed, and debated, adding yet another layer of depth to an already multi-layered narrative. In private moments following the incident, both Tyson and Mayweather were reportedly seen contemplating the heavy cost of their actions. For Tyson, The struggle was internal and deeply personal. His introspective comments to close friends and confidants revealed that the act was born not only out of anger, but also from a long-festering disappointment with the way power and privilege were wielded in arenas far removed from the purity of combat. He spoke of dreams once fueled by the roar of cheering crowds and nights spent training under relentless discipline, dreams that had given way to an awareness of a wider injustice. Sometimes, he confided with a pained yet resolute tone, you have to break down walls so the truth can finally find its way in. Those words resonated with so many who believed that beneath the veneer of brutality lay a genuine call for a reimagined societal order, one where every
I'm listening. Mayweather then broke every record in boxing. When we get to talk about highest gate, even when they was like right now, they saying, oh, Mayweather fight didn't sell out. Well, you know, when they do sell out, I think I'll reach somewhere like, you know, the live gate, it reached like 80-something million for this fight. We already had 60-something million. For those that saying that Mayweather is not doing numbers anymore. As far as taking less punishment, I took less punishment.
Every injustice would ultimately be laid bare. Floyd Mayweather, whose usually unflappable public demeanor had long been a model of concentrated excellence, now found himself haunted by the private toll of maintaining a facade of perfection. In interviews that were careful and measured, he acknowledged that the recent events had shaken him to his core, forcing him to confront realities he had long tried to bury under layers of discretion and carefully managed charm. While vehemently disputing certain allegations as nothing more than exaggerated distortions, Mayweather did not shy away from expressing a deep-seated regret over missed opportunities for transparency and reform. His measured tone spoke not only of a man defending his reputation, but also of an individual grappling with the profound personal consequences of living a life under constant, relentless observation. Outside the sterile confines of the courtroom, the world reacted with an intensity that surpassed even the most dramatic sporting events of our time. Social media became a cauldron of raw sentiment and fervent debate. Forums, chat rooms, and video blogs were awash with diverse.
My only point. He's phenomenal, and he's great, and he's unblemished in his career. And when you see Floyd Mayweather, when you see him in the
diverse opinions, some condemning the unchecked power of celebrity, others lauding Tyson's audacity, and still others sympathizing with Mayweather's plight as he faced an unraveling empire. In countless impassioned posts, users from all walks of life expressed a shared sentiment: the need for a reality where power was met with accountability, and where the public's right to know was never compromised by the allure of spectacle. As the days turned into weeks, the ramifications of that explosive incident began to manifest in unexpected ways. Major financial institutions that once lauded Mayweather's reputed business acumen started to re-examine their investments and alliances. Regulators, spurred by the high-profile nature of the scandal, initiated discussions aimed at tightening oversight over celebrity financial dealings. Industry experts, in turn, began drafting recommendations for new standards and transparency measures in a world increasingly defined by digital records and instantaneous information exchange. Slowly, what had once appeared as an isolated, albeit explosive, act of defiance.
He's on that side, so he got to say things that, you know, like, I don't like that guy. Like, come on, bro, you don't know me. Talking about my security. My security got to be like, and that's also showing that people's real character, like, who is that, you know? Even like the code, alright, cool. I just say like the, I don't even want to get these guys like.
What's a bigger fight for you? You versus Floyd or you versus Anyway? Because I know you don't like talking about Anyway, but you know what I mean, that fight, that's Godzilla versus King Kong right there.
But it's like, that's like, I gotta fight everybody. He just said like, this guy is 3, 4 weight class. Like that's what it is.
In a courthouse began to swell into a potential turning point. A moment that might well redefine how we perceive the intertwined destinies of fame, wealth, and accountability. Technology, which had played a pivotal role in exposing the hidden layers of the scandal, continued to be both a weapon and a tool for change. Experts in cyber forensics worked around the clock to decode the remaining layers of encrypted communications, driven by a determination to reveal the full scope of the covert networks implicated in the case. Every new breakthrough not only shed light on the mysterious freak-offs, but also underscored the undeniable fact that in the modern digital era, no secret can remain buried forever. The convergence of digital prowess and relentless investigative determination was transforming an individual scandal into a watershed moment for the entire celebrity ecosystem. Beyond the immediate legal and financial implications, the incident has also ignited a broader cultural introspection about the nature of celebrity and the true cost of maintaining a facade of perfection.
And that's what appears to happen, because they would reach out to, like the company who actually owns the building, who actually owns majority of the buildings. They reached out to them and they would drop some nuggets that just blows this Mayweather con just out there, right? It completely exposes it. For anybody with a brain, you can read this and know what's going on. Mayweather will want us to believe he's big dog who don't need partners, but read what these people said, right? So the people who own the buildings, actually, they said, Floyd Mayweather continues to be a reliable partner and a great ambassador for affordable housing. Bruh, this man is an ambassador for these folks, bruh. He took an upfront check, probably like, I don't know, like a share of the company, a very minute share to promote the company. So then the spokesman for Black Spruce Management said the real estate company,
growing consensus that the tumultuous events of that day are emblematic of a much deeper social malaise, a recognition that even the greatest among us are inevitably subject to the vulnerabilities of human nature. The conflicting images of Tyson as both the relentless warrior of the ring and the sensitive soul seeking redemption, alongside Mayweather's dual image of invincibility and hidden fragility, have captured the public's collective imagination. Their stories have become an allegory for a larger conversation about authenticity, the search for truth, and the inevitable clash between personal ambition and the heavy burden of expectation. In reflecting on the dramatic twists and turns of this saga, it becomes evident that the repercussions of that courtroom showdown will be studied for generations. Historians, legal scholars, cultural critics, and sports analysts have already begun to compile the myriad lessons embedded within this event. A rare confluence of physical conflict, digital espionage, financial intrigue, and personal transformation. What was once seen as merely an act of uncontrolled aggression now